The search warrant carried out by the Public Corruption Unit of the United States Attorney's Office in Manhattan sought information about Karen McDougal, a former Playboy model who claimed she carried nearly a year-long affair with Trump shortly after the birth of his youngest son. Ms. McDougal was paid $150,000 by American Media Incorporated, the Inquirer's parent company, whose chief executive is a friend of Trump's. So yeah, that's something that we always know they used to do as like Jeffrey Pecker, who pays off women to say sell their stories, and then he sell their stories to them. Like he so pretty much what happens is he finds a woman who's had an affair with a powerful man and says, "Hey, you want to sell this to me? It'll be in the National Enquirer, it'll be everywhere." They say, "Okay, pay the amount of money, sell the rights to the story." No, your story's gone. Your story is gone. There is no story about that coming out anytime soon because they have the rights to the story now. This guy, whoever bought the story from you, David Pecker. He's the CEO of American Media, who's a friend of Trump's. The Star, Sun Weekly, World News, Globe, Men's Fitness, Muscle Fitness, Flex, Fit, Pregnancy, and Shape. Those are the CEO of the magazines. That's the magazines he runs. He buys off those stories, and you never hear about them once ever again. They're down, they're gone, and they will not be seen again. It kind of looks like a little bit of a mix between Geraldo Rivera and John Bolton, in a way. He has that mustache, and then he has that hair color and those circular glasses. Pretty strange. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, that's what he looks like, and it is quite a little strange. Anyway, so, yeah, so the search warrant was carried out by them, and agents who also searched the office and the hotel room of the lawyer, Micheal Cohen, for information related to Stephanie Clifford, better known as Stormy Daniels, the pornographic film actress who said she had sex with Trump while he was married. Cohen had acknowledged that he paid Clifford $130,000 a year as part of a non-disclosure agreement to secure her silence days before the 2016 presidential election. The president reacted to news of the raids on Monday by lashing out at his top law enforcement officials, described the investigation in a Twitter post on Tuesday as a total witch hunt, in all caps with 1, 2, 3 exclamation points, and later declined to respond to reporters' questions. But Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the White House press secretary, refused to say that Trump retained confidence in his attorney general, deputy attorney general, or FBI director. So that's not very assuring. So it's Christopher Wray, that is Jeff Sessions, and that is Rod Rosenstein. She also said that Trump believes he has the power to fire Robert Mueller III, the special counsel in the Russian inquiry, in a position directly contradicted by federal regulations. Stephen Ryan, Cohen's lawyer, said that it was Mueller who referred evidence in federal authorities in New York who carried out Monday's raids. In an email, Ryan repeated his assertion the raids were inappropriate and unnecessary. So the prosecutors be like, I'm going to make the judgment of that, sir. Yeah, so Stephen Ryan, Cohen's lawyer, said that it was inappropriate and unnecessary, which, I mean, from what we know, it isn't. And here's the thing. Like, people are like, what happened? This is unrelated to Russia. From what we know, from what I've been seeing so far, there's no name of Robert Mueller or the Russia probe anywhere in this. This search was carried out, keywords here, by the Public Corruption Unit of the United States Attorney's Office in Manhattan and sought information about Karen McDougal. This has nothing to do with the Russian investigation, so that talking point we can pretty much BS. We can push out, because from what we can see so far, at least what we can see so far, this is about only Trump's ladies, let's just say. Yeah, so Trump has been dogged by months for accusations, by the accusation that women who he has said to have had affairs with were paid to keep quiet before the elections, charges that the White House had repeatedly said he denies. McDougal has claimed that she had a 10-month consensual affair with Trump 12 years ago. American Media, which is owned by David J. Pecker, agreed to pay Miss McDougal $150,000 for the rights to her story, August 2016, but did not publish it in a practice known as catch and kill. Miss Clifford, who told her story about which catch and kill, by the way, is what I mentioned before. When you buy someone's story and then you hush it up, and it never gets out again, because then once you buy someone's story, they don't have any control over it. They can't tell it. Otherwise, you're infringing on the rights of the person you sold your story to. So that's the tough situation there. Clifford told the story about an affair with Trump to CBS's 60 Minutes last month, is challenging the non-disclosure agreement in October 2016. She agreed to, receiving $130,000 in return. It's unclear whether or why the New York investigators are examining the payment, but critics of the president has claimed that they amount to illegal campaign contributions because they helped Trump win the White House by suppressing politically damaging stories. So this is $130,000. It does seem kind of stretchy that they would decide to go there, but we will find out how it turns out under the law, I guess you could say. So the FBI also searched for records related to Cohen's New York taxi cab business, apparently a separate line of inquiry unrelated to Trump. Cohen's a longtime owner of taxi medallions, at one point operating more of a fleet of more than 200 cabs in Manhattan. So he has that little taxi business there on the side. Besides arranging Mr. Trump these searches in the early morning yesterday, associates said, also led him to privately wonder whether he should fire Rod J. Rosenstein, the veteran prosecutor appointed by President Trump to serve as the Deputy Attorney General. Rosenstein personally signed off on Monday's FBI decision to raid the office of Cohen, the several government officials said. So Justice Department regulations require prosecutors to consult with the senior officials in Washington, but not necessarily the Deputy Attorney General, before conducting a search of lawyers' files, which is among the most delicate steps federal prosecutors can take in an investigation. So, yeah, this is going to be very, very, very serious. To go through not the person's stuff, but the, in fact, lawyer stuff. That's definitely something that's not done very often. It's actually pretty unprecedented. Trump's been mistrustful of Rosenstein for a long time, who appointed Mueller and now oversees the investigation. In his remarks on Monday night, the president lashed out for Rosenstein for having signed a FISA warrant, a reference to a role Rosenstein played in authorizing the wirehead tap of a Trump associate in the Russia inquiry, which was justified, but something that the Trump people don't think is very justified. Was the subject of the Nunez memo that got so much stink, I think like a few months ago. Anyway, yeah, so that'll do for this story. Coming up next, what to do in Syria. That's in 45 seconds. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to it. Syria is what we have next on our plate today. So President Trump and his advisors on Tuesday weighed a more robust retaliatory strike against Syria than last year's missile attack, reasoning that the only escalation of force would look credible and possibly serve as a deterrent against further use of chemical weapons on Syrian civilians. A pair of Navy warships in the eastern Mediterranean Sea were capable of launching some sort of missile barrage that Trump ordered against the Syrian airbase a year ago in response to a chemical attack that then killed more than 80 civilians. That was a pretty rough attack. Ivanka showed Trump the pictures of the dead children. He was more invested to take aim. We did cover that live. It was one of our first breaking news stories in the history of the show. So that's pretty interesting. But White House and national security officials worried that an operation of the same scale as punishment for another suspected and deadly attack that killed dozens over the weekend would not be effective at curbing the Syrian military war effort. Administration officials said they had expected any new strike to be more expensive than last year's. The question was, how much more? So if they do it, we know they will go harder than they went last year. Possible options include hitting more than a single target and extended strikes beyond a single day. But even so, Trump remained reluctant to deepen American involvement over a long term. So that's one of the few things where I'm going to press this button for Donald Trump, which I never thought I'd do. Yes, that's what you have to do, Trump. Do not keep us involved on the long term on this. This is something that you've been consistently all talk, no action on. You have not had any of the principle and the backbone required to come in and stand up with these people who are going to be badgering you. They're going to say, stick in this war. But, I mean, you need to stand up with these people. That's how you're going to get out of it. The people in the Pentagon who talked to you the first time, Trump, they're going to be like, well, you need to stay in this war here, sir. Respectfully, I think you're going off your rocker here. And this is that's going to be a struggle for you. You're going to need to outclass them. You need to outpower them in every way. So that's going to be your problem. How long do you want to go? Are you going to withdraw troops but hit them for every airstrike? I don't think they should probably extend past a single day, but that seems to be unlikely. So Trump and his team enlisted support for actions against the government of President Bashar al-Assad. American officials expressed confidence that they would have the backing of France, which has been vocal about the need for a strong response, as well as Britain, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, all of which called for Syria to be held accountable for the suspected chemical attack. It remained unclear whether any of the allies would participate. So American officials expressed confidence, again, they would, like France, Britain, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, are also seem to be on their side here. They all call Syria to be accountable, but I'm certain they probably had some other kind of communications, the U.S. and those countries beforehand. Trump canceled a trip to Peru and Colombia. He's probably like, yes, that was scheduled to start Friday, to oversee the response to the Syria attack, but as of early evening, he's made no comment on Syria. As of yesterday at noon, he said 24 to 48 hours would be the time frame. That he said he would make some sort of decision on. So as of yesterday at 12, so either today or tomorrow at around 12, there will be something that's going to go down here. So the decision will be made and the action sooner will be carried out. So he said, we see the suffering of the Syrian people, and me and the president, we see eye to eye that this matter has to stop immediately. We cannot tolerate a war criminal. We can tolerate someone who has killed more than 500,000 of his own people, which is pretty much an atrocity. No one should be allowed to live like that. And obviously, you can kill. You can come in and take them out. The U.S., if they went all out, if they went full force, the sheer strength and might of the military in Syria would be pretty hard to stop. But here's the thing: we do not want another Iraq. Is it really necessary? Why are we launching an unoffensive war against a country that did not attack us in the first place? That's going to be the real question. So that we will still have to negotiate here. So Trump spent part of his day huddled with John Kelly and John Bolton, his new national security advisor, and other officials, but his spokeswoman declined to discuss the deliberation. So Huckabee Sanders says All options are on the table, but I'm not going to get ahead of anything the president may say or may or may not do in